About 2 years ago, I was driving home from a family reunion pretty late at night, and the drive was about 2 hours. I didn't stay the night because I had to be back for work the following day. Most of the drive was on roads with dense bushes and trees on either side, the really creepy ones you would see a lot in movies. Anyway, I had been driving for about 45 minutes, and starting to get really tired. You know, sometimes you just suddenly become really tired out of nowhere. Well, yeah, that's what happened to me. I knew I wasn't going to last, but I didn't come across any place that I felt I could park and safely sleep. Anyway, after it became clear to me that I wasn't going to find a place to pull up and my tiredness wasn't going away, I did something very questionable. I pulled over to the side of the road onto the grass behind some bushes to try to hide my car from anybody else who was going to come past. The roads weren't empty. I came across another car every few minutes or so. I made a mental note that the time was 11:22 and then fell asleep. Sometime later, I was awoken by a scratching sound. I looked at the clock. 11:50. The sound stopped after a few seconds, and because I was still extremely tired, I didn't bother looking around and simply went back to sleep. I was later awoken by the same sound, and it was now 12:40. This time it really freaked me out because the sound didn't stop. The thought ran across my mind that it was just an animal inspecting the car, but why would it return almost an hour after it had left the previous time? I looked in my rearview mirror and managed to catch a glimpse of something running away into the forest. Now, at the time, I thought it was the damn hook killer, you know, the one that scratched the couple's car and then slaughtered the guy when he got out to investigate. Fuck that, I thought to myself, so I got the hell out of there. There was a bend no more than 100 yards up the road, and as I came around it, there was a fucking car parked off to the side of the road with the driver's side door opened. I slowed down just to see if anyone was in there. There wasn't. Then I looked in my rearview mirror. I didn't see anything, and all of a sudden, this guy comes sprinting around the corner. He starts screaming at me, shouting stuff like, Hey you! Get the fuck out of your car, now! I noped the fuck out of there and sped off. I never saw that guy again. Moral of the story? Don't fucking sleep on the side of a deserted road. My house sits further back in a lot than most other houses. It is a strange layout as well. The sidewalks run the length of the living room and ends in the front porch, which leads into the living room. Large windows that do not open allow a great light to get into the living room, but at the cost of no privacy. The rest of my family was on vacation, and having the house to myself, I decided I would get smashed. Well, I passed out on the couch in the living room at about 9 when I realized I was too scared to walk back to my room. The couch is right underneath these big windows. I woke up suddenly, not knowing why. I had a severe case of the chills, and I could not figure out why. Then the banging started. It came right above me. I did not move, but I opened my eyes and looked up at the window. Someone was standing there, pounding on the glass without moving. I looked at the cable box. It was around 3 in the morning. The banging continues, then it stops suddenly, but I still do not move. Suddenly it commences again, coming from 2 different directions now. Someone is banging on the window, and another person is banging on the front door. They kept doing it. It would not go away. Finally, about 40 minutes after, they quit. It was the most terrifying event I can recall at the moment. It made me nervous wreck after that. I called a friend the next day to see if he could come over and stay for the rest of the week, and his response was, "What the fuck for? So that we both can be murdered in our sleep? Thanks a lot, asshole." When I was in high school, I had a really good friend who lived next door to a house that was always up for sale. People would move out in the middle of the night without a word, and it hadn't had the same owner for more than 6 months straight for a couple of years. One night, we were really bored, and he suggested we go explore the house next door since it had been sat empty for a while. We go around back, and there's a dog door that he can crawl through, and he unlocks the door and lets me in. The house itself is really unremarkable. It looked like it was built in maybe the 1950s, and it was a craftsman style house in an older, nicer part of my town. My friend's house was similarly built. The kitchen had a really nice built-in breakfast table set against a pictured window. The house's electricity was off, but you could see the streetlight through the window. My friend and I sit down on the floor across from this table and are just hanging out, talking. Why? Who knows? All of a sudden, my friend screams, and in an instant, my vision goes black. But it wasn't that I just couldn't see. My body was engulfed with this sickly coldness from head to toe. I start screaming, and I feel my friend's hand grabbing mine and pulling me in some direction forcefully. My vision slowly comes back, and I start to warm up when I realize that we were outside underneath the streetlight. It was December, and I should have been much warmer inside of that house. Finally, I look up at my friend and he looks scared. I'm really confused and kind of panicked, and finally asked him what happened. He says that as I was talking, a black thing, this figure was all black and only had a vague shape of a girl, crawled out from underneath the table and sat on top of me. Apparently, I started groping around with my eyes wide open, like I couldn't see, and he was so freaked out that he pulled me out of the house. We're still friends, and we bring it up every now and then, but the story itself never changes it and still sends chills down my spine. To this day, I've never felt such a blackness or coldness in my life.